beautifuls, this is Aromie here, and welcome back to Cinderella Phenomenon. So last episode, we are stalking Rod, wanting to watch him dance. We're smiling at each other more. Very adorable. Sevi's talking more because Rod's mind and thoughts are very fuzzy and everything because I think he has a thing for us. He has a thing for us. And I should say I'm a better dancer than him. The scowl on Rod's face deepens. I almost smirk. Maybe he is reluctant to show me, but Rod is also full of pride. He is more likely to show me if I pose a challenge. He didn't answer the question. And are you underestimating my dancing? The others may have forgotten, but you still remember, do you not? I am a princess and was taught by the kingdom's best instructor. I say the words with pride, and I notice Rod's lips twitch in response. It actually makes me feel accomplished to get under Rod's skin when he's usually the one getting under mine. Having the best instructor does not automatically make you the best dancer. I'm pretty confident with my own skills. Say what you want, but I refuse to believe you without any proof. I still say that I'm a better dancer than you are. Woohoo! Rod steps forward and pulls me suddenly into his into his arms, taking me by surprise. He looks at me clearly determined. Fine then, you have your proof. I'll make you swallow those words with this dance. We shall see. Rod starts leading the dance. He glides us into the imaginary rhythm of a waltz. Even without the music, I am able to count the steps in my head as I follow his lead. This is different from that short dance we showed Emmy. Rod's movements are graceful, his touch gentle as he leads me to an underarm twirl. Oh, we're so awfully close. When I come to face him once again, I notice the gentle way he stares at me. Oh, the usual hardness of his expression is gone, melted into something relaxed. I find myself staring back at him, looking into his eyes. Perhaps Rod does have some gentleness to him. Our gaze does not break as he twirls me. You have beautiful eyes. Hello? Rod's eyes widen as soon as mine does. He abruptly lets go of my hand and steps back. I can only stare at him, my face warm. It wasn't me this time. That was more than just a thought, I swear. Rod says nothing, though his cheeks continue to darken with embarrassment. Oh my. Oh, Emmy, oh crap. Rod and I turn to look at Emmy, who is hovering by the door. Excuse me. Rod quickly walks through the doorway and out into the hallway, leaving Emmy and I alone in the room. What just happened? That was a wonderful dance, Michiko. You were watching? I only just saw the last few minutes, but you know, the two of you really did look like a couple. It was sweet. Oh, a couple? Oh, you're blushing. I put a hand to my cheek and turn away with a scowl. I am not. Besides, whatever just happened was embarrassing. You like Rod? Yes. I stare at her. I do not. Also, you're forgetting that I'm a maid who could not be with the prince even if I wanted to. He's grumpy and cold. And even though we are not blood related, he is still my stepbrother. Don't remind me! If only Emmy realized how crazy her words were in the light of the truth. Emmy suddenly looks starry-eyed as she giggles at me. Love knows no boundaries, dear Michiko. Besides, he seems to like you. Your brother hates me. Rod can be a contradiction sometimes. Sometimes he says the opposite of what he feels. It's only when you get to know him as well as I do that you realize what his truths are. I cannot help but think of Sebi, who always speaks Rod's thoughts aloud when they are contradictory. He was always so mean to Viorica. When we were young, he would always bully her for being a crybaby, even though he cried far more often. But then I realized that he treated her more special than he did anyone else. Back then, I knew that he liked her. I thought that one day, the two of them might even grow to love each other, but Emmy lets out a long sigh as she directs her attention out the window. His attitude toward her has changed ever since he was cursed. Then they grew even more distant than Viorica found a lover. When Viorica? Is that the reason why you haven't been going to the toy shop with Prince Rod? Because you want to bring them... Why you have been? Oh yes, because you want to bring them back together. I mean not. The three of us were best friends, the three musketeers. It's not the same without Rod. I keep on asking him what's wrong, but he refuses to tell me. He's always been stubborn, but it's not like him to keep secrets. It's really frustrating because I have no idea what I should do to help him. I thought he was just being stubborn with me, but apparently no amount of prodding, even from his own family, will make him budge. Why is he being so difficult? I hope you do not mind me asking, but what do you know about his curse? Emmy stares at me for a few moments before nodding. You're my friend, Michiko, and I know that I can confide in you. I know that sometimes I'm not trusting enough, but I think Emmy is still far too trusting. We only know that he has the mermaid's curse. I've read the story so many times, hoping that I can figure out some way to break his curse. I think back and realized that I had actually read the beginning of The Little Mermaid a long time ago, but I did not have the chance to finish it because I was caught by Mother. The Little Mermaid is about a mermaid who trades her voice for legs, right? Yes, she does it so she can be with her prince. Rod's voice was taken away, but I'm sure that he was given something in exchange. I've heard that the curses are derived from the original tales, but that they are twisted in some way to fit the format of a curse. I nod slowly, thoughtfully. I have a strong feeling that Rod's curse is related to Viorica, but I cannot draw the connection. But still, Viorica might be the key to understanding his curse. If Rod will not divulge anything, the next best chance we have of understanding his curse might be going through Viorica. Chapter 7. A careful what you wish. Oh, be careful. Careful. Today is the first time that I am leaving the palace on a day off. Usually I choose to stay inside, whereas other servants would always leave to go home. I never see any reason to leave since that this has always been my home, and the merchant has never been home. Besides, not as if I want to return. Not after the conversation we all shared last time. Thus, I have spent most of my days asking questions about Mother's reign, inquiring when and where I can. The opinions do not surprise me. I was so scared of her. One wrong move and she'd have been thrown in prison. The townsfolk would always wait for her to pass by before leaving their houses. She was a tyrant. The kingdom is a better place now that she's gone. There is no reason for them to lie to me. The more I hear, the more my old life makes sense to me. I now know why the king never seemed to love Mother and why the people hated her, and the reason people looked at me with such fear. However, it has been months since I had been glared at in public. If there is one good thing that this curse did for me, it is that it allows me to travel around town without being noticed. As Viorica's shop comes into view, my thoughts shift to the reason I have left the palace in the first place. If Rod will not tell me anything, I will have to ask Viorica. She must be related in some way to his curse. I paused outside the door to the toy shop. With a deep breath, I pushed the door open. Welcome! The moment she sees me, her expression becomes confused. Oh, you're the princess's maid, Michiko, wasn't it? I nod at her. You've never come here alone before. What can I help you with? I want to ask you something. It is about Prince Rod. Prince Rod? Did something happen to him? Is he okay? He is fine. She sighs with relief. Then what is it you would like to ask? I just wanted to know if you knew anything about Prince Rod's sudden muteness. Viorica stares at me for a few moments before she shakes her head. I only know that it happened soon after I met my fiancé, Desmond. I really wonder what is Rod's curse, though. What reason do you have for asking? Well, I try to think of a plausible explanation for this, and I immediately consider Emmy. Viorica is Emmy's best friend. Surely she would be willing to help if she knew I was doing this for Emmy. Prince Rod has been very quiet recently. Princess Emmy has been worried sick about him, but he refuses to say anything, even to her. I've been trying to gather information that might be helpful in discerning the cause. I stare at her expectantly, hoping that my gaze holds nothing but determination. Finally, Viorica smiles. She's lucky to have a dedicated friend like you. I'm still not accustomed to the fact that Emmy considers me a friend. Before she became the princess, I was her first confidant. We were like sisters. But now that she's living in the castle, we no longer have the luxury of spending so much time together. I worry about her constantly. Even around me, I'm always tempted to keep her problems to herself at first. She doesn't like to bother other people with them. It is hard not to agree. But the way Emmy was always smiling before, I never thought she had any problems in her life. It was only recently that I discovered that she was hiding all her loneliness and pain behind a smile. It's a relief that she's befriended someone who cares so much about her. I don't know if I can be much help, but I'll tell you what I know if it will help Emmy. To start with, I'm not exactly sure how everything changed, but it all happened so suddenly. All I know is that after the night I met Decimon, our relationship changed. At first he still smiled, but recently he's been avoiding me. What happened between the two of you the night you met your fiancé? Nothing. Rod and I did not meet on that day. Prince Rod wasn't there? No, but soon after what happened that night, Rod grew distant. What happened? It was a stormy night and I was heading back home. I took the route by the riverbank because it was the shortest route. It was foolish of me. The road was slippy and full of mud. I lost my footing and fell into the water. The waves were strong and I was certain I was going to drown. I don't remember what happened in the darkness of that water, only that when I woke up my head was in Decimon's lap. That was the first time we met, but not the last. He carried me home, and he came by every day as I was recovering. And then he came to visit even after I had recovered. I tried not to get my hopes up too much because what could this noble man see in me, a mere commoner? But I still ended up falling in love with him. You have no idea how happy I was when he said he loved me too. It was a dream come true. Of course, every girl dreams of marrying a prince. It was in all of the fairy tales that I read as a child. None of that was at all related to Rod. How does it relate to his curse? You said your relationship with Prince Rod changed after that night. What happened? Viorica sighs. I told Em and Rod about Decimon soon after the incident. Em was happy that the two of us had fallen in love, but Rod didn't say much of anything. That's when I noticed he started growing distant, and when I realized that he had also lost his voice. He still won't tell me anything, but I figured that he was... Her voice fades, but I know that she was referring to the curse. Cinderella lost his voice shortly after Viorica met Decimon. The mermaid's curse must have something to do with the tail. The little mermaid traded her voice for legs so that she could be with her prince. But that night, the only person who found their prince charming was Viorica. Rod's curse must have something to do with Decimon and Viorica. He became distant with her after finding out about Decimon. Why? Then there was the fact that he still spoke to Viorica, even if he was distant. It was only when he found out about their wedding that he became so cold. I frowned as I tried to organize my thoughts. How did it get to be this late? I'm so sorry, Michiko, but I have to close the shop now. Sorry for the story. I know it has nothing to do with Rod, but it was after that incident that he began to act strangely. I don't think it was much help, but I shake my head. You have told me what you could. Viorica walks me to the door, opening it so that the both of us could step out onto the street together. I really hope that you're able to help Emmy and Rod. I hope so too. Did you see Ophelia the other day? Why are people talking about her? I catch sight of two noble women sitting on a bench together, not too far away from the toy shop. They're referring to Ophelia without her title. How disrespectful. Who would have thought a peasant like her could almost look like royalty? But her dress. As a queen, she ought to be wearing silks rather than satin. I don't know why, but I bristle at their comments. Everyone is entitled to their opinion, but the fact that they are speaking so bluntly in public means that they have little worry of being overheard. I'm still not sure what the king saw in her. Well, you know what they say about ladies lacking natural beauty. Her talents must lie in other, more persuasive areas. Yo! She must be very persuasive indeed if the king saw it worthwhile to marry her. As the two women laugh, I feel something hot begin to burn in my stomach. Viorica takes in a sharp breath beside me. Since I became a maid in the palace, Ophelia has been nothing but kind to me, a mere servant. She has all the right to flaunt her status and title, yet she remains humble. I now know that this is why everyone at the palace loves her. Common women like her can only keep a man's attention for so long. I start walking toward them without thinking. Ichiko, I wouldn't. You have no right to say those things about the queen. The two women are clearly surprised at my interruption. Both of them glare at me. And you have no right to eavesdrop on us. Eavesdropping? Anyone could hear you. Their mouths fall open. One of the women looks at me for a long time, then sneers, suddenly as if something has occurred to her. I thought you looked familiar. You're the crown princess' personal maid. I see you always following her around when she's in town. This is none of your business, girl. Why do you care so much about our opinions? Perhaps it's because the girl idolizes the queen, thinks she might also go for rags to riches. What? Oh, you do have a point. They stand and advance toward me. Do you want the prince for yourself, girl? If a commoner can become the queen, it's not too difficult to imagine yourself as a princess, is it? How foolish! You're better off dreaming smaller dreams, girl. They laughed, and the irritation in my chest blazes into full-on anger. Is this what Ophelia has been dealing with for the past year? She's being treated so cruelly when she has done nothing but love the king. And I also ridiculed her just like this. I forced myself to look at the cruel women as I moved my hand to the pendant hanging around my neck. I was just as cruel as them. I barely feel Viorica's hand as she rested against my shoulder. Michiko, let it go. Her Majesty wouldn't want you to do this. But I cannot just let these two women talk about Ophelia like this. I pull away from Viorica and stand firm. The queen has a good heart. She is far more noble than either of you could ever hope to be. I think back on the times I was cruel to her. Ophelia could have easily reprimanded me for my behavior. She had the right as my stepmother, yet she has been nothing but kind to me. Ophelia never got angry at me, even despite my treatment toward her and her family. She has always treated others with kindness, even when they are cruel to her. Judging from the bitterness in your accusations, it seems like you are jealous of her. How pathetic. Ooh, that does not sound good. The other woman marches toward me, and my free hand instinctively moves to hold her hand just before her palm reaches my cheek. I would not tolerate any insults toward a queen. A soft light emanates from the pendant, and I can only stare at it in shock. I got another good deed. Okay, so we got one for Emmy and now Ophelia. So the next one's Rod, right? Or father? By defending Ophelia? That woman snatches her hand away. How dare a peasant like you talk that way to us? Have you no manners? I could ask you the same. What happened to yours? How dare you? Don't you know who we are, girl? I will see you pay for your impertinence. Our words have far more weight than yours ever will. I will go to the king myself to tell him about how rude you were. I could pass on that message myself. Oh, my love! He's here again. I turn and see Rod walking towards us, his expression cold. The two noble women hastily curtsy. Your Highness, the noble women, I hate that word. I'm so used to saying woman, but this one's women, turn pale as Rod's eyes fall on them. I think it's hard for me to say ever since I got my braces. I don't like how it feels on my mouth. Actually, we have an important dinner engagement. Yes, we do. The two noble women curtsy before quickly departing. What are you doing here without your guards? What trouble have you gotten yourself into now? I didn't get in trouble. Hello? Tell him. These women were assaulting the queen. I thought a lecture was in order. Oh? But everyone is entitled to their own opinion. What? I narrow my eyes at him. Something like this can't be helped. Bad rumors are unavoidable. Rod looks away, his expression suddenly pained. This wouldn't have happened if I hadn't wished for. Rod never finishes a sentence. He clears his throat before looking at us again. What was he going to say? I shouldn't keep you from returning home, Viorica. I'll take Michiko back to the palace. Viorica's eyes narrow, and she looks ready to say something, but Rod has already reached out for my hand to pull me along behind him. Okay. Wrong. Should have told him. Don't tell him. It is nothing. If you refuse to tell me what happened, I will have to assume that the noble women were telling the truth about you. Michiko has done nothing wrong. In fact, I think Michiko only did what you or Emmy would have done had you heard the awful things those women were saying about your mother. What? She stood up for the queen when she didn't have to. Then why didn't you just say so? Would you have believed me? No. Rod drops his gaze from mine. Dang it, I should have told him. You never gave me a chance to believe you, did you? He would have believed me? How am I to know that? Rod is like a walking contradiction. Rod glances up again, this time to look at Viorica. Which one is it? Did I have to keep talking to him? When we are out of sight, I guess I have to keep typing, reading, and pray it's one of these choices. When we are out of sight of Viorica's shop, Rod stops, releasing my hand as he turns to face me. Did you really think I would refuse to believe you if you told me the truth? You never liked me. You have no reason to believe me. Rod sighs, running a hand through his hair. I told you that it would help you break your curse, right? That offer alone should be enough for you to know that I... Oh? Rod turns away, suddenly looking embarrassed. Oh, that I don't dislike you anymore. You're expecting me to just assume that? How would I know unless you made that absolutely clear? Well, I'm making it clear now. I understand. Anyway, thank you for standing up for my mother. It seems like you don't require my assistance in breaking your curse after all. He gestures to my necklace. Congratulations on your second good deed, Michiko. Suddenly tongue-tied, I find myself looking everywhere but at Rod. When I have once again gathered my senses, I turn to the road. My eyes narrow as I recognize the path we are on. This is not the way back to the palace. No, it isn't. We're going to the merchant. Why? Because I was on my way there before I was forced to take a detour because someone was drawing attention to herself. What? But Rod ignores me and we walk the rest of the way to the merchant in silence. Watts is the only person in the reception room when we enter. Prince Rod? Princess? It's a little late for the two of you to be here. I had meant to be here earlier. Is Lady Parfait here? Watts nods. I'll go get her. Wait here. As soon as Watts leaves us alone, Rod turns to me with expression rigid. Rod steps closer and grabs my shoulders. Hello? I wasn't able to say so earlier because we were out in public, but you should know just how much danger you're in now, and you thought it was okay to go around on your own. It was my day off today. It's not unreasonable for me to want time for myself. Time to yourself? Don't you understand the meaning of be careful? Why would you do something as foolish as going out into town alone? I cannot help but bristle at his tone. Why are you so angry? Because you're... Rod trails off and looks away. Because you're family. No, don't say that. So you're finally acknowledging me as family. I notice his cheeks turning red. To be honest, you're less of a family member and more just important. Oh, important. Because of all that you do for Emmy. Are you for real? Because of all that you do for Emmy, you're important to my sister. He looks uncomfortable as he says the words, and I cannot help but marvel at his embarrassment. Why is he so embarrassed? But Rod changes the topic as he turns away from me. Why were you with Viorica? I can only think of one reason you speak to her. My curse. You thought you'd find out about my curse through her. I shrug. I can only assume that your curse has something to do with Viorica. I look up when Rod says something, then stare at the curious sight before me. He has taken Sebi off his shoulder and is holding the doll in his hands away from his face. The two seem to be engaged in some silent conversation. Then gently Sebi speaks words I can hear. This is the right thing to do. You need to let her know. You need to let her help you, Rod. Oh, it's so cute. It's like he's holding it like it's the puppy and like, hey. Rod bites down on his lower lip before briefly closing his eyes. Eventually, he returns Sebi to his usual spot on his shoulder and turns to me. Fine. You're stubborn and you're not going to quit investigating unless I tell you, are you? You're right. Viorica is the reason I was cursed. Rod sits down in the seat and lets out a heavy sigh. His eyes are far away as he speaks to me. I was in love with Viorica. Oh, don't say that. My heart. But I wasn't brave enough to tell her. I just followed her around like some kind of puppy. One day Viorica hadn't come home and it was raining very heavily, so I went out to look for her. I found her walking along the bank of the river. I called out to her to tell her to be careful, but I don't think she ever heard me. She slipped and Rod swallows. He clenches one of his hands into a fist. She fell into the river. I dived in after her. I somehow managed to get both of us onto the riverbank, but it didn't look like Viorica was breathing. I didn't know what to do. I started panicking. I ran off to try and find help, but I couldn't find anyone in the storm. When I returned, she was gone. I rushed to her house, and a doctor was already there tending to her, along with Desamon. Rod's gaze is vacant as he nods. When Viorica began to fall in love with Desamon, I felt helpless. Oh, that's so sad. He saved her, went to go find help, but then some other guy saved her. Oh my god, it sucks. But did you not tell her that you were the one that saved her? Why would I? Viorica was so happy believing that she and Desamon were fated to be together. I couldn't do that to her. But surely if you told her, Rod interrupts me. I want the people I love to be happy. I don't care if their happiness causes me pain. I'd rather bear that alone instead of bringing down those around me. My chest aches as I watch Rod's face. Yo, Watson's taking a long time to get Parfait up in here. I never would have guessed that Rod would be so selfless. But that didn't stop me from thinking that I could still make her love me instead. I decided to become what I thought Viorica wanted most, the Prince Charming of the fairy tales she so adored. And so I asked a witch to turn me into one. She stole my voice in exchange. What? Only then I realized that she had inflicted the fairy tale curse upon me, the mermaid's curse. The next day, the king turned up at our house, proclaiming that he had been looking for my mother for years and that he never stopped loving her. When the king married my mother, I became a prince. It was just as the witch promised. But it didn't matter. I didn't see it when I made the deal with the witch, but I couldn't be blind to it forever. Desamon and Viorica really do love each other. They make each other happy. Nothing I can do will ever change that. Rod, that's so bad in so many levels. Oh, now you come? Parfait? Prince Rod. Oh! Parfait pauses in her track when she sees me. Have I interrupted something? Yes, you have, Parfait. Please exit. No! Rod moves over to Parfait, but he stops to glance back at me. I won't be long. Parfait looks at Rod and then at me, her face puzzled, but she does not say a word as Rod and her leave the room. Wow. Wow, our poor Prince Rod. He gave his voice away to become a prince, but the girl still loved Desamon. Viorica still loved Desamon more. Wow. I did not get the chance to discuss Rod's curse with him later that night, nor did I get the chance to speak with Parfait and Delora about my suspicions of Sir Alcaster. Days go by, but I still find myself overwhelmed by preparations for the ball. Things became more frantic every day, making it difficult for me to have any time to speak with anyone. Eventually, I decided to write a letter containing my suspicions of Sir Alcaster. I told Parfait and Delora that I believe he might be the witch they are looking for. I also add that I believe Fritz might somehow be involved, though my suspicions are not as well founded with him. What if Fritz was a bad guy all along? To make matters worse, he went and disappeared. I have not heard anyone mention his name here for a very long time. But again, Fritz is always dying in every route. Oh, hello? I'm forcefully pulled from my thoughts when I collide with someone. The linens I had been holding scatter over the floor. Excuse me, I did not... I look up and my voice throws off when I see who I bumped into. Oh, hello, Mithras. Lost in your thoughts? Sir Mithras looks at me, something veiled in his smiling eyes. I suppose those are the linens the queen asked for. Yes, please excuse me. I began gathering up the linens, but as I reach out for one, Sir Mithras picks it up first. Allow me to help you. I will be fine, but this was partially my fault. Let me assist you. I bite my lip and do not protest as Sir Mithras helps me gather the rest of the linens. I am contemplating my schedule for the rest of the day when I realize that Sir Mithras has been talking. I'm busy thinking in my own mind while this guy is just talking. I don't suppose you have any idea on who that maid is. Maid? There's a cold amusement in Sir Mithras' gaze. Surely you've heard the rumor of the young prince having been seen with a rural maid somewhere around town. Rumor has it that Prince Rod has found love among the common folk, much like his rural stepfather has. Rod with a maid? As far as I am aware, the only maid he's been out in town with has been... I freeze as Sir Mithras straightens, patting down his clothes for desk before holding out some of the linens for me. If it is true, I wish him the best, though I wish he would be more discreet about it. A royal scandal is the last thing we need right now. I shakily take the linens from Sir Mithras as he inclines his head to me. Have a good day, Michiko. See you later, witch. I walk into the dining hall in a haze, my mind whirling with the implications of what Sir Mithras just said. I am sure it was those noble women who spread this rumor. Michiko, thank you for bringing these to me. Just leave them on the table. I curtsy after placing the linens down as commanded. That is all. Michiko? Yes? Oh, yes, ma'am. I strain at the tone of Thelia's voice. When I look up, I see that her expression is carefully still. I'm about to ask you something that you might not want to answer, but I am very hopeful you will. I will answer if I can. Good. Ophelia sighs as she sits down on one of the dining table chairs and folds her hand on her lap. I've been trying to ignore it since palace gossip is mostly false, but I can't help my curiosity. I wanted to ask you about your relationship with my son. What? I understand you and Rod were out together in town a few days ago. Do you want to tell me what happened? I don't know. Dismiss it. Dismiss it. We don't need to tell her. I fight the urge to roll my eyes. How can a Ophelia believe in such nonsense? The rumors are baseless. Then Rod didn't step in to defend you from those noble women. How did you know about that? Ophelia sighs as she takes my shocked expression. You don't need to hide anything from me, Michiko. Did you think I would be mad if the rumors were true? Okay, sorry. If there's a slight cut, it's because like I had a random cough that wanted to come out all of a sudden because I was choking on my spit. That's great. Yay! Regardless, a member of the royal family cannot end up with a servant. Where there's love, there's hope. Social status shouldn't stop you from being happy, Michiko. Then what about the fact that I'm Rod's stepsister? Please, game, stop reminding me that. I bite down that statement fiercely. I already know what role I am playing here, and I cannot break it. Ophelia looks at me with a complicated expression before she sighs. I will not push you on this any further. But be careful, Michiko. Your closeness with my son and daughter has not gone unnoticed. I do not believe in the limiting relationships because of one's status, but I understand. I curtsy as I move toward the dining hall's entrance. What did Ophelia mean by that closeness not going unnoticed? Oh, did I choose wrong? I mean, I'm already over the time limit, but I wanted to get the little shiny thingy. If Ophelia is asking me about these rumors, then I can only imagine what sort of story these women made up. Prince Rod was just on his way somewhere when he chanced upon me. When he saw that I was in trouble with two noble women, he stopped to intervene, that is all. Rod said the same thing. Oh, I was supposed to tell the truth? I thought Rod would be upset if I told the truth. Then why did you ask me, Your Majesty? To see what you thought about the situation. I don't think anyone should get a say in what your relationship with Rod is. My relationship with Rod? I like you, Michiko, and I'm certain that you're good for Rod. If I had my way, I would let him court you. I feel heat in my cheeks, so I trip over my words. The prince and I are not in a relationship. A member of the royal family cannot end up with a servant. Oh. There we go. Well, yay! We completed it for today. The progression is going smoothly. I feel like... Oh, I'm here stuck. Hello. I feel like the chapters are going quite fast. We finally learned about Rod's curse. What chapter are we currently on? Oh, wrong way. Chapter 7? I believe there's 10 chapters in each character's route, right? I don't know. I remember Chevrolet was 10 or 11. It was a big number. It was a double-digit number. But we finally learned about Rod's curse, chapter 7. We don't know if Rod kind of likes us or not, even though he did say that we were important to him as family, but then he's like, no, you're just simply important. So that was really adorable. I really love him. He's so adorable. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Stay beautiful, and I'll see you guys in the next one.